Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quarter Podcast. We're knee deep into the Women's World Cup qualifiers. My name is Mpho. Tim's not with me today. Load shedding. If you're South African, you know what's going on. It's happening. But yeah, so it's a Full Quarter Podcast. We're knee deep into the Women's World Cup. And because we're following the Momentum Proteas throughout this World Cup to glory, we get a couple of journalists, cricket writers, content creators in to kind of discuss the teams that they're going to be playing along the way. And so please do watch out for more of those conversations that we do. We've already spoken to Sean Mayers, who gave us an insight into the Momentum Proteas and where they wanted to go through, maybe an insight into the Bangladesh team. Now the Proteas are playing their second game against Pakistan. It is a must-win game, especially after what the West Indies did today, having beaten England in a massive game. So it is a bit of a must-win. But before we even continue, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Please tweet us at One World Sports Radio. We also have a Patreon page where you can support us, because over and above the podcast, we're a cricketing radio station. We provide commentary for the Momentum Proteas, the Proteas men, and also the Springboks, and as well the South African soccer team. So if you want us to be in stadiums more, your support will be really helpful, because we realize this is a platform that some people really do like. And we're really happy and we're really thankful for that, your support to those who have supported us. Today, we're doing a preview of the Momentum Proteas versus Pakistan women's game. It's going to happen on Friday morning. And so we've managed to find somebody from Pakistan who's going to give us insight into the team. Remember, the Momentum Proteas did play the Pakistan women earlier on in 2021. And also, so that's also quite a recent feel to it for us. And so we've got Anam Nadeem with us. She's a cricket presenter, host, and a writer, also content creator like ourselves. So let's welcome her on to our platform. Hi, Anam, and welcome to the Full Quarter Podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'll just correct you there. Anam Nadeem is the bowler we have in the team, and I'm Nadeem. I would have loved to be Anam Nadeem though. Like I would die to be Anam Nadeem.
I do apologize. You see, I'm having nightmares already. Of the first over that Anam Nadeem's going to bowl to Lizelle Lee, and she's probably going to get edged at first slip, and all hell's going to break loose. So I'm there. But Anam Nadeem, thank you very much, coming from all the way from Salcott. She's told me a really interesting story off air about the FIFA World Cup soccer balls being made out of Salcott, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a really lovely thing. How are you doing?
I've been doing well. How about yourself? At least South Africa have won their first game, and Pakistan haven't managed to get registered on the points table. So you should be doing a little more better than what I am.
I am. It's just I was really surprised by what I saw against Bangladesh, and well, we can talk about that. I really thought that we should have beaten them by a lot more. Largely because if teams like the West Indies are going to want to put up a fight, it might end up being net run rate, and you kind of want to have a net run rate in your favor, especially against teams like that. And that also brings me to the game against Pakistan, because it's placed a lot more pressure on the Momentum Proteas around winning well against a team they've played a lot of times before. Played in 2019, just before COVID. They played again in 2021 after COVID. I think it was Pakistan's first series outside of COVID. And so it's been quite an interesting one. But my first question to you, since COVID, how has the Pakistan women's team, how has it evolved, and how has it gone? Because the results haven't been great. Obviously, South African tour wasn't great. Then you went over to the West Indies. That didn't work out as well. Then you hosted the West Indies at home, and that looked a little bit worse. And then in Zimbabwe, there were a lot more questions than answers. So where does this team find itself after this period that they've gone through?
I mean, they've tried their best. Like we've had a lot of camps in Pakistan as well when the COVID situation was getting worse as well. So they've kept things under control by having camps, by putting, a 30 player squad with the coaches and all, and they've tried their best. But then it all comes down to, converting all of it when you're playing in an international game. Unless you can't convert your performances, whatever you do in the nets, whatever you do in the training camps needs to produce results when you're out there, So in terms of that, we've not had the best of times. As you mentioned, we visited South Africa. We lost the ODI series 3-0. There were two close encounters. The third one was a little more comprehensive. But then at the end of the day, when you read the result, it says South Africa beat Pakistan and we lost the series 3-0. Then we went to West Indies. We could not convert the results in our favor either. West Indies came to Pakistan. We were playing a home series after a very long time, and even then we could not produce the results which would have, given us that important, a momentum going into this big tournament, as that is the World Cup. So you need to feel good about yourself. Although we did win the two warm-up games.
Warm-ups, yes.
Yeah, which was a very encouraging sign when I read the results regarding the warm-ups. It was like, I think finally we do have that momentum. Finally, I think we can convert our performances into the big games. But then when you face India first up, it's always like there are arch rivals. You know how the rivalry is. And although it's the woman against the woman, but still there are nerves, and there are a lot of nerves. There are a lot of expectations. The burden is a lot. But what I feel is, honestly, we could have done so much better against India. We kept them under check. We had them for 114 for 6. They were at one point. Only then things started slipping off. And at that point, I was thinking, if today we can beat India, if today we can bring out that result, I think it's gonna, the result of beating India would have multiplied to levels I cannot even explain, because instantly we would have come under the limelight. Instantly the girls would have been under the radar, like, oh, the Pakistani women have beaten India, and this is one huge thing that has happened. It could not, although as I'm saying, in hindsight, if it would have been great for the game, especially for what women face over here.
Yes, and looking at that game, I thought it was a very winnable game for Pakistan, because I know a lot has been said about India and how great they are. But if you looked at the way India played over the past year, they did improve in Australia late last year. But I never thought that there was a massive gap between India and Pakistan.
Yeah, you're right about that. But again, there are a lot of factors which we can talk about when it comes to India evolving as a cricketing unit, and Pakistan still not being able to translate. We've got talent. There's no doubt that there's a lot of talent. So we've already have the first emerging cricketer of the year from Pakistan, Fatima Sana. So there's a lot of talent. But when it comes to translating that talent onto the field, I think our players lack that that one step that they need to take. So, for example, you just spoke about the West Indies, how they've opened up the tournament. Nobody saw that coming, that they'd beat New Zealand and England. So West Indies have that, final intent factor, the push that, drives the entire team. Somehow, although Bisma's back, and which is huge for us, considering she was on a maternity break and now she's back with the baby on board, the entire, cricketing fraternity, not just the cricketing fraternity, but everybody is raving about how Bisma is carrying herself this tournament. And it's such a lovely story, inspiring story. And her inclusion in the team has given us that, X factor. But again, it's not enough, I guess, because you need to have the entire unit gelling together, the entire unit having the drive to take the team forward. And so, for example, maybe when it comes to our batting, it's always been our batting. Our bowling has, performed decently. Although it is debatable that whatever happened in that the India partnership between Sneh and Pooja, we can still discuss that we let things off the hook in that partnership, but at least our bowlers did give us a chance till a good point,
Look, yeah, and I think that's the thing. But so with the return of Bisma, what are the expectations in Pakistan for this tournament? What do you want to get out of this tournament? Is there a semi-final berth that you're looking for, or is it just a respectable finish?
To be honest, as any Pakistani would say, we'd want to play the final, not even the semi-final, but we'd want to go all the way and play the final. But realistically speaking, it's not likely that we'll make the semi-final berth. But what we need to take away from this tournament is, we've played, this is our 5th World Cup now, and we've only won 2 ODIs, right? So for me, personally, I'd want our team to at least not finish last. I'd not want the wooden spoon because that's what happened in the 2017 World Cup as well. We did not win a single match during the 2017 World Cup. So I'd at least want our team to give us that, one or two wins for us to, say that yes, our team deserves to be there. Our team has done all the hard work to be there, and yeah, so at least 2 to 3 wins would mean the world to us.
2 to 3 wins. And I think it is quite possible for Pakistan to get 2 or 3 wins. Obviously I spend time in Zimbabwe with the teams that were in the qualifiers, and one of the key things that I noticed about the Pakistan team, apart from the disappointing performances, as you mentioned slightly earlier, was the batting. And it's largely the top order batting. There's always wickets that are falling. Pakistan find themselves 2 down in the first 10 overs, and it's hard to come back from there. But over and above from that perspective, the slow scoring rate is my even bigger worry for
Yeah.
this side. I know they've had changes from the team that played in the World Cup in the qualifiers to now. Do you think they can overcome that? I've seen in the Australia game it was 186 dot balls, but you're playing Australia, so I'll give you that. But do you see an improvement from a batting perspective going forward in this tournament?
Look, there's a lot of potential. One worrying sign has been, and this Sana Mir also pointed this out on the broadcast as well. She tweeted this as well, that we've had like 5 opening pairs changed, and since 2020, and 2 more in the World Cup. So Muniba Ali, who had been opening for us in a lot of games during the South Africa tour, during the West Indies tours, suddenly we don't see her opening. So
Yes.
so that's kind of like weird as well, and it's beyond me that how did they come to this decision that somebody who was a regular opener suddenly they don't think that she's capable enough to open the innings for Pakistan. So that's been a worrying sign. Apart from that, Javeria's form. We were talking this off air as well. I don't know. Javeria, along with Bisma, is one of our main batters. She can play the anchor role, and she has the ability to translate her anchor innings into something more. But off late, she hasn't displayed the kind of talent she has. She hasn't been able to convert her innings into something more potential, something more substantial. So I don't know. It's going to take a lot for us to turn things around from here. But having said that, South Africa, the game against South Africa is something which can change the tide for Pakistan as a unit, because we can have a close game. The girls can feel more confident against South Africa because we've already played them before. Look, we haven't played Australia and India for a very long time. We
Yes.
hardly play India. We don't get to play Australia that often. So, this also plays a role in understanding the opposition, where, the opposition, you don't know how the opposition plays. You've just seen them on TV. You've just seen their videos while the analyst tells you that this player does this player does that. So the gap is still there. Apart from the World Cup, there's a lot of disparity between who plays who and
Yes.
what amount of games which team gets. So, we need
Yeah.
to cover that factor as well. ICC needs to look into that as well, that it's not just the World Cups when one team gets to play the bigger team. It has to be on a consistent basis, so a team can understand the opposition better. And another point which I'd like to mention here
Yes.
is that apart from Nida Dar, no other Pakistani player has played any of the leagues. So Nida Dar represented Pakistan in the Women's Big Bash, and that's it.
Yes, she did.
We didn't. None of our players got a chance to play the 100. We don't
Yes.
get to play the Big Bash that often. So these things count when our girls don't have the amount of exposure which maybe the other players have, or the other players have the luxury of. So it does put you on the back seat. Although I'm not saying that this is one of the like prime factors where I can say that okay, maybe this is the only reason why our girls can't give us the batting performances or the performances we want out of them. But small factors do contribute to something
Look, and I agree
bigger.
with you. I agree with you. For instance, Fatima Sana, I think she's
Yeah.
a really great bowler, and she's quick. She's raw. She deserves a chance in any of these leagues. Diana Begg's been doing it for
Yeah.
years. Obviously, you've got Bisma, you've got Javeria. They add a lot more to the side, and I feel as though you need that. I'm hearing rumors of a Pakistan Women's Super League, so I don't know. I'll defer to you, but that would be very good in elevating Pakistan women's cricket because, as you say, the talent is there. And I'm going to talk about those talented players that I see. Javeria Khan, really, really talented. In Zimbabwe, she was carrying that team. She was anchoring those performances. And I think against Bangladesh when they lost, it was really tough to see because she came in, she put in her job. And then the other two, in Alia Riaz and Nida Dar in that lower middle order, they need a platform to launch off of. They batted a very high strike rate. And I kind of feel as though the woes at the top are kind of creating an issue for them because they find themselves trying to salvage Pakistan around about 190 to 210 rather than moving them from 210 to 250. And it's a team that, when harnessed well, could cause problems for anybody in the world. And that's where my apprehension comes from. But looking at the South Africa game, the one part I see Pakistan doing really well in is the bowling. I do think this tournament is a bat first tournament where if you bat first and the teams are slightly equal, you can actually win games by putting down 200. So for me, that's the one thing I know about this tournament. But from a bowling perspective, South Africa's struggled with spin. They struggled against Bangladesh spinners earlier in the tournament. Anam Nadeem, Nashra Sandhu. I know the list goes on. But those
Nida Dar, yeah.
Yes, so those three are very important to this Pakistan side, as well as Diana Begg and Fatima Sana. What do you think the plans are from a bowling perspective to the South Africans with this Pakistan bowling attack? Because I know Bisma can choke a team, and she did choke India, and it just kind of felt that last partnership just wasn't working out with Sneh and Pooja. But where do you think Pakistan are going to go with against South Africa in the bowling?
Yeah, let's just reflect a little on that partnership as well, because Pakistan suddenly went shorter in lengths during that partnership. You know, they were bowling really short. Before, when 6 wickets fell, they were really good with their line of attack. They were bowling fuller and they were like making the batters drive or, you know, getting into the shot. And during that partnership, suddenly they'd forgotten their line and length and they were bowling really short, giving, especially Pooja, who I read about, is absolutely a killer against spinners. So, you know, you were feeding Pooja to her strengths. So against, and then again, against Australia, obviously, you know, it was a hard thing to expect Pakistan to, you know, they are the dominant side in the world. They're the side.
Look, if you can find a team that can beat Australia, please let me know, because currently I don't think there is one.
So against South Africa, I'm really hoping that they can use the spinners in a more effective way and they can, you know, stick to their plans, because obviously they do have plans. We saw that against India. We saw glimpses of that, because against Australia we didn't see a lot of, you know, but still 3 wickets fell, which was like, it was good for me, at least, because we didn't get a 10-wicket defeat from the hands of Australia. So against South Africa, again, because we know the opposition really well, we've played against them regularly, I think we know our strengths and we'll be able to convert the spinning unit into our main strength against South Africa. And I think we'll cause them trouble with spin. Maybe we can add another spinner in the team as well.
I was about to ask that. Is there another spinner waiting in the wings that you could bring in? Maybe go in with Diana alone. And as much as I love Fatima Sana, her accuracy is something that the South Africans would love, and her pace. So I would just probably maybe do that. Is there somebody that can come in who can cause South Africa?
Yeah, we've got Ghulam Fatima as well in the squad. Maybe she can come in, but I don't think so. They'll tinker much with the bowling attack, to be honest. I think they'll stick with Fatima. I don't think they can leave Fatima out with the form she is in. You know, just to add another spinner. But Bisma can bowl. Bisma can be handy with the ball. I heard about, I was really wondering earlier that why Alia isn't bowling, because she hasn't been bowling a lot since a year now. Yeah, so we are missing that factor as well, because Alia is handy with her, one when she comes on with one change or maybe two when she's the second change bowler for Pakistan, and she can be a little tricky with her medium pace. But she's been carrying a lower back injury for a while. And I heard her press conference after the Australia game, and she was like, she's still not very confident with coming back into bowling just yet. So I hope as the tournament progresses, maybe we can see Alia bowling as well. That will strengthen our, combination in terms of bowling a little further.
Um, if going forward in this tournament, but largely in the South Africa game, who do you think needs to step up in order for Pakistan to upset the Momentum Proteas and actually win that game?
Nida Dar, for sure. I mean, Nida with the bat, obviously, we need Nida to go all guns blazing with the bat. Alia has already done that. She registered her first 50 against Australia in the World Cups. So, on a personal front, I really want Nida Dar to get going because she's that kind of a player who can pick the team up at any stage because she has that charisma, she has that, firepower in her. So I really want Nida to get going with the bat, which will help at least whatever issues we have with our top order, maybe Nida can come in and give us that momentum going forward. And
Yeah,
also Javeria, she's carrying a groin injury. That's why she didn't play against Australia. I hope she recovers soon, and Javeria can step up as well as a senior pro. She's captain Pakistan in the absence of Bisma.
she
She
did.
took the blunt. Yeah, so I really hope that Javeria can also step up with the bat. That would be really amazing to see that Javeria can do that as well. Because we've seen with Bisma and Alia, they constructed it was a 99-run partnership against.
Yeah, the highest partnership in World Cups for Pakistan women. So that
Yeah.
was
So, in bits and pieces, we do see, glimpses of Pakistan doing something really out of the ordinary. But it all comes down to us, connecting all the dots together and giving something for the fans as well to, have a joyous moment. Because the thing is that in our part of the region as well, girls playing cricket is still not taken that well, due to a lot of reasons, religious reasons, and there can be political reasons to it as well. So these girls playing out there, this is our fifth World Cup. It becomes huge in itself. But then when you say that this is our fifth World Cup, we expect a little more from the team. We expect them to take, the next step in terms of performance. So we saw this with India. In 2017, India reached the ODI World Cup final. And suddenly the scene in India went from
changed.
here to here. Yeah, it completely changed because the women team gave the fans something to look forward to. They were not just playing for the heck of playing, but they were playing to win tournaments, and they were playing to perform. So I want Pakistan at some point to give the nation the same sort of energy, the same sort of reason to celebrate, which will take time. Obviously, this is not the World Cup I'm saying will change things for us overnight, but slowly and gradually, because now we have regional cricket. There's a lot of focus on regional cricket as well. I'm not just talking about a women's PSL in contention, but regional, because we have regional teams now. There are 6 regional teams in Pakistan now, the men's side. Now they're developing a women's side to each team as well. So when we'll have a women's team with each region will have a women's team as well, more players will come forward. There will
Yes.
be more hunger to perform, and even the girls who are already in the national side would know that we are replaceable. There are girls who are performing at the lower level, and they can replace us. So we have to be on our toes all the time and perform out of our skins to maintain our position in the national side. So things are looking good.
I've got one of my questions would be Muniba Ali being dropped and Sidra Amin coming in, because Muniba Ali throughout the past year she was the wicketkeeper bat, so you didn't need
Yeah.
to carry an extra wicketkeeper. Now you are in Sidra Nawaz, who's batting lower down the order. Do you know what the rationale was behind moving her out of the side, and bringing Sidra Amin at the top, as well as obviously Sidra Nawaz as the keeper? I know a lot of people weren't happy with Muniba's keeping, but I thought it compensated with the bat.
Yeah, honestly, I really can't comprehend with the fact that an opener who you were like playing her regularly in all the matches before the World Cup or to the build up to the World Cup, suddenly you decide not to play her in the position she was settled in. So yeah, honestly, I don't have an answer. Maybe if I get a chance in the South Africa Pakistan match to attend the press conference, maybe I will put this question forward that is there a rational reason behind not playing Muniba? As you said, her wicket keeping skills might not be the greatest, but she can compensate with her batting, and she's not that bad
It
a
just
wicket
falls down the
keeper.
leg side. She's it's not there yet, but she'll grow into it.
Yeah, but then with Sidra Nawaz, again, Sidra Nawaz, you dropped her down so down down the order. Like even I did not see that coming either because Sidra Nawaz, she's okay-ish with the bat, but then again, you need to give her the confidence. You need to give her a certain role. And then maybe we can also start looking upon a strategy where we can send a pinch hitter, maybe Diana up the order,
Yes.
and maybe change shuffle the things a little bit, maybe just confuse the opposition a little bit because right now we're going with a very orthodox strategy. The opposition knows us that okay, this is how they're gonna come out and perform. So maybe just shuffle things around. Maybe David Hemp being in charge, I know he's capable enough to bring out a strategy which can surprise us along with the opposition as well. So yeah, maybe just tweak, a little tweak here and there can make a difference.
I was crying for a pinch hitter in South Africa's game against Bangladesh. I kind of felt like the Bangladeshi bowlers got into a rhythm, and it was crying out for either Marizan to be pushed up the order, but that didn't happen. So maybe we might get pinch hitters in this game, which would be fun because I'm a fan of pinch hitters. I think pinch hitters just change the dynamic a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, and why not? And certainly when we see the Women's World Cup, obviously, and considering Pakistan have their issues with dot balls and they cannot convert they're even reluctant in taking singles. So it's okay, fine, you cannot hit a boundary, but at least rotate the strike because that's the basic thing you need to do. So maybe a pinch hitter can stir things up.
Lots of runouts in Zimbabwe is the reason why there's a lot of reluctance. I remember Javeria staring people down after getting run out. I think it was against Bangladesh. So there's a lot of animosity happening that was happening there. But it was quite interesting to see how they relate, because that's the one thing I think a lot of the teams in the World Cup struggle with, rotating the strike and
Yeah.
getting to the other end, trying to find singles here and there. Australia are mastering it, but even as we saw with England, they struggled. They needed to like even those final two stands. You just need to rotate the strike. Yes, they got like West Indies got lucky with that run out from Manisa Mohammed, but you don't need a wild hoik all the time to get
Yeah.
boundaries to score runs. So I think for me that was the interesting part about actually that game and the tournament. It's just the team that can rotate the strike the best will end up winning it, I think. One last thing, are there any youngsters in the squad that we need to look out for? Maybe even talk a little bit about Fatima Sana. I don't think a lot of the South Africans have heard of her. I think they've seen her in that South African tour. But like, what do you think of those, of some of, if there are youngsters there that might play, might not, might be in there that South Africans need to look out for throughout the tournament?
Um, I think pretty much the 11 we are going with is going to stay. Although I think Ayman Anwar is another player which we can keep an eye on. Ayman, she's sort of an all rounder. She's obviously a bowling all rounder, but she's really good with what she does as well. But then again, obviously Diana and Fatima are at the forefront, and maybe because we are relying more on our spinners, so maybe we might not get to see Ayman a lot. But Ayman is
No.
another player who can put the opposition under certain threat. So I'd like to see her at some stage in the World Cup as well. Kainat Imtiaz is another player who we've missed out. She suffered injuries and she could not be with the squad. Yeah, so Kainat would have been a great addition. And then there's another player who's not in the squad, but I'd like to mention her name, Aisha Naseem. We saw glimpses of her during the West Indies tour.
Okay.
Aisha, yeah, and she's a hitter. She's like she's good built and she can hit long. And I was expecting Pakistan to take her along with the squad. She's new, I know, but she could have been the X factor that was missing from the squad because we've seen with Shafali as well with India. Although she's really young, Aisha Naseem is also really young, but again, players like Shifali give you the X factor. They can, on their day, they can blow the opposition away. So I think Pakistan missed a trick by not taking Aisha Naseem with them this World Cup.
What do you think is going to happen in the game between Pakistan and South Africa? What do you think that's going to be won or lost?
It's going to come down to Pakistan's batting not crumbling under pressure. It's as simple as that, because I think we can hold on to, we can, restrict South Africa if, whatever, if South Africa bat first, maybe we can restrict them to a reasonable total. But then it comes down to our batting, and I really hope that our batters don't crumble under pressure. It's really, it gets frustrating at times as well that, there's basic things, rotating the strike, it's a basic thing. Showing intent, as you said, it's not always about hoiking or slogging. You can take calculated risks as well when you're playing. So there need to be smaller tweaks in all the batters, game plan, and the coaches can tell them that maybe you can have smaller targets. Maybe you can look into playing one innovative shot, maybe just to get going, just to release
Yes.
the pressure. So these are the smaller things which the coaching staff also needs to look into for the team to really get going. But against South Africa, I'm really hopeful. Maybe we can pull off an upset, if I may say.
Look, and the way I'm looking at it from a South African perspective, this is our banana peel. The first two games of the tournament are banana peel games, and so you could lose to Bangladesh and Pakistan. We nearly did the first game. Pakistan we played many times over. It comes to a point where on the day, for instance, if Bismar or Javeria or even Nida or Alia just go out and have a good day, find yourself in a little bit of trouble, can this Momentum Proteas team come back and try and win? And I think for us, we're in a very interesting situation where our batting is not where I want it to be. It's not where it was when Pakistan came as I think then it was humming. Now, and even then, Dene wasn't playing that much in that period. And now it looks completely different. I think this team is going to struggle to put down scores around about 230, and that's what you need. And I think if we can get to that level, you give yourselves a chance, because I think our bowling, just like Pakistan, our bowling can win us games. Obviously, Ishmael, Kaka, Karp at the top. And then obviously, I still think we need to have a frontline spinner in the side. But I do think it's Pakistan's always a tricky prospect, especially with the amount of spin Pakistan can bowl. And like in Zim, Pakistan and Bangladesh would bowl like 45 overs of spin, with Diana bowling like the first 3 overs and Fatima just bowling 2 in the middle. And then it's just Nida, it's Anam Nadeem, and it's everybody else just trying to win them games.
Chipping in,
So for me, that's where my worry is in terms of how our team's going to play, spin especially, and how they start the first 10 overs. I've honestly, because with Pakistan starting with Anam Nadeem, I have nightmares because they could be 2 down. They could be 2 down after 10, or even 3 down after 10, 3 down for about 30. That automatically tells Pakistan they can restrict South Africa to under 200. They can win the game, similar to how they did in the warm-ups. I think they were strangling teams in the warm-ups, largely because of their bowling and that spin bowling. So that's where I'm nervous. I'm very nervous about this game, because I've seen Pakistan play very badly throughout the entire year last year. And
we haven't won an ODI. Like, how bad can it be? We haven't won an ODI.
And so you get to a point where you kind of feel like the ship's got to correct. And if it's going to correct on us, it just gives us even more pressure, because West Indies are now beating teams. They're now winning games. And West Indies team, you came back to beat. So I'm in a very precarious situation this morning, and I'm just really worried about this team. But I'll tell you, do you have any questions?
Sorry. The beauty of this World Cup right now is that it's so open. I've said this earlier as well. Like with England losing 2 games back to back, suddenly your top 4 favorites. Suddenly England is not in the top 4 right now, and you're like, what's going on? Like, this is anybody's World Cup right now, and especially West Indies. I think anybody, be it you, me, we can support West Indies, because that's how West Indies cricket is. Anybody, any neutral supporter would like to be with West Indies, because they play the most exciting brand of cricket, be it with the men's team or the women's team. And especially right now, the women's team is giving us all sorts of thrillers, two thrillers back to back, and so yeah,
I
I
still
think this is
say,
anybody's World
win
Cup
the
right now.
toss, bat first. Win the toss, bat first. Give us because it was 225. It wasn't hard. It
Yeah.
feels like it's not enough, but it actually is quite a lot, especially in the women's game with the lack of strike rotation. 225 looks like it actually feels like 300. In where this game is currently. Do you have any questions for me as we round out this interview?
I'd just say that I love Shabnam Ismail. She is one amazing player. I don't know, I admire her a lot. I used to be a fast bowler myself, and
Okay.
yeah, so I think the flair Shabnam carries when she bowls, it's just so good to see, and it's like, you know, it's poetry in motion. I love Shabnam Ismail, although I don't want her to take a lot of wickets against us, but I love Shabnam Ismail.
Oh, look, she's in a little bit of a wicket. She's not the West Indies series she came through, but like I think of the past couple of games, she hasn't been taking a lot of wickets. I think Bangladesh she was really surprised that it doesn't feel like it's getting there, but maybe this is the game where she will take five. But the thing with South Africa, you've got Shubnim, you've got Marizan, then you've got Ayabonga Kaka, then you've got Masabata
Yeah.
Class. So it's just going to be a pace barrage, which is good for Pakistan. I think getting pace on the back might be just something that they might
Yeah,
actually
they won't
need.
mind that. Yeah, they won't mind that. Yeah.
Okay, one last thing. Ask all our guests. I've asked everyone we've interviewed around this World Cup. What's the one thing you want people to take away from this World Cup in your homeland at the end of it all?
Uh, I don't want them to. I want them to stop criticizing the women not doing well during tournaments, because they don't watch cricket all year long. Like, for example, they would have not seen Pakistan playing throughout the course of last 2 years to the build up of the World Cup, and suddenly they start watching the World Cup and they tell you, oh, why are they playing? They're not good at it. Why are they wasting their time? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? So they need to, shut up. This is not your place to talk. You don't know their struggles. You don't know how hard they've uh, done. They've practiced, how hard they've fought around the external factors to be where they are right now. So you should be the last person telling them to stop playing, or telling them to, you are not capable enough to play cricket. So yeah, for me, I really want people now to start taking women's cricket seriously in the country. I really want them to, start appreciating the women who are putting in the hard yards every day. They're giving in their everything to play the game they love. And obviously, they're doing it because they love it. It's not like it's an obligation that they're playing cricket. They're just doing what they love. And especially how Bisma has carried herself throughout from the start till now, and how she's given this message that, women can do anything. They can raise a family, and they can do well in their career as well, be it cricket or any other thing. So this is the biggest takeaway for our home country, as a nation. I think this is the biggest takeaway, that stop taking women for granted. We need to support them. We need to cherish what they're doing, and we need to, be there when they need us. It's not like they need us all the time, but if they need us, be there. But stop criticizing them for what they're doing, and even journalists for that matter. It really gets annoying when journalists, they take a stance which they don't even know anything about, and then they take a stance that, oh, Bisma, because she's taken a baby with her to the tournament, that's why the team is not doing well. Oh, dude, you don't know what's up.
You
You
don't
don't know,
know,
like,
yes.
how it works. So you should be the last person commenting on this. So yeah.
Yeah, look, and I think all your points are very, very valid and very true. I'm loving the fact that Bisma has the baby with her. I think it's very forward. I think it was like to the Pakistan Cricket Board, well done to them. I think
Yeah.
well done to them for allowing this to happen, and I hope with more players this happens as well. And it's just not because Bisma's the number one player in Pakistan and really do need her, but it's because you want to support and it's a really good showing with regards to women's sport around the world. People are watching this tournament, seeing what's happening with Bisma and a baby in the bubble, and they're going around and they're taking pictures with every team. And I think even now with this African team, the stars of the show will be the child, will be the baby. It's not going to be the game. It's going to be like, oh, Bisma's little baby at the end of it all, and that's what we want. I think for me, this tournament is winning a lot more fans and a lot more
Yeah.
girls and ladies who are on the periphery. They love the game of cricket. They're just not sure how society is going to take it, maybe even in their countries or in their cities. But if they're seeing all of these things happen, that you can have a baby, have a family, and still play. Even with Lizelle Lee, she was allowed to stay back for the birth of her baby, and now she's with the team. Hopefully, she'll be back for the Proteas. Just
Yeah.
obviously worried about fitness and everything else. And she's really explosive and she might take the game away. But it's that type of understanding, that type of ability to be flexible, to be understanding, to allow women's cricket, to women's sport to naturally take its own shape in the way it wants to be. Not everything needs to follow the same thing that's been followed by the men 20 for decades or how many years it's been. And so I'm really excited. I'm really happy. Pakistan's won my heart. So has the West Indies. I really do love those two teams and I want them to do well. But obviously, Friday, and I'm sorry, but I don't think we're gonna go past there. But I really do wish you the best. I wish Pakistan women the best. And maybe we'll have you on later in the tournament, and you'll have turned this around. We're talking semi-finals.
We,
Yeah. So thank you very
we
much.
never know. Yeah, we never know. Stranger things have happened. We never know how things will, take who will take center stage going forward. But as far as Friday is concerned, I really want a cracking game. I don't want a one-sided game. I really want, a thriller to, just for the sake of a competition. I don't want a one-sided game. I want Pakistan to go out there, all guns blazing, and performing, like telling the world that look, it's not just that we are on paper bits and pieces. We have the best emerging player in the world, Bismar's back. But as a unit, on our given day, we can do wonders. And this is the day we've chosen to do wonders. So I really hope an inspiring performance comes out of the team.
Yes, and with that, I will agree with you. But with that, thank you very much, and yeah, we'll have you on later on in the tournament. Outside of that, to all our viewers, thank you very much. Enjoy the game of cricket. I think it's going to be, as Anam says, a cracker. South Africa and Pakistan always give you these little tight games. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. But remember, we'll be live on 1WSR.com as well as our YouTube channel with the game, bringing you the commentary, just taking you through the motions, supporting the girls as they go through this tournament. Outside of that, from myself, Mpho, and Anam, goodbye and lesale kakahiso.